What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBet Solutions. So just another recap on today's trading, ending the week on a green note. So definitely one of the biggest days for this week for my profit alone. Brought in a net profit of $548.27. So I did a total of 5 trades today with 4 different stocks, twice on RGSE, and I shouted every single stock before I bought in or while I bought in. So you guys in a sense can learn from my best practices. So if you guys don't know already, TechBet Solutions is a group I started. We're sitting about 2,384 members worldwide, again for a wide band of experience level. So if you've never traded before, definitely the ideal group to get started in. It's a free group you can join. The link is provided for you down below. It's going to allow you access to our TechBet Solutions Facebook platform, and with that there is this link that you can click to now join. And again, it's a free group. You can join our group chat platform, which is where we share best practices and we learn from each other's gains as well as mistakes. So it's all about networking with one another in order to promote growth. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So I'm going to talk to you about the 4 different stocks that I traded today with my 5 different trades. What I did good, what I can improve on, just because I had a successful day doesn't mean that I didn't have any mistakes. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. So like how we always do, we say good morning to one another. Right off, RGSE was one that was thrown within our group quite often. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. So the first trade, like we said, is RGSE. I alerted the team, told them that I was in at 230 support. What that means is it tends to bounce at 230 just because of the analysis that I was able to perform. So this is pre-market, this grayer area, and this is during market open. So if you guys did not know, the market opened 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, and I believe 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to get a little bit closer so you guys can see where it is that we bought in, why, and give you guys a little bit more of insight, on why I was able to identify these support and resistance levels. So pre-market can allow you to identify support and resistance levels, and you can actually open up this type of chart through Fidelity Brokerage Company. You don't necessarily have to fund your account. It is an advanced chart. I believe you do have to have an account to be able to open this, and you click settings, you click extended hours, and this will allow you access to this extra, just in a sense, data, giving you a better understanding on how the market was moving, pre-market and after-market hours. So pre-market, this is February 17th. It showed that it had a resistance or hit highs of, right? So it peaked at 262, meaning that RGSE started from, in a sense, $2.30. Volume, really wasn't there in a sense, and then started really picking up. Started going from the hundreds to the thousands, hit 262, and then started climbing back down. Where did it bounce when it was climbing back down? It bounced at around 230. So it built a support around 230. You can identify the support by this information right here and these candlesticks right here. As you can see that it almost struggled to go below 230, so it tends to bounce. So ideally, when it comes to when and where you're going to be buying, it's all about having a plan. And we caught it right at open. So I made $260 when I bought at 260 and sold at 250 within 6 minutes. So again, it's about having a plan, what it is that where you're going to be buying at and why, where you're going to be selling at and why, and where you're going to cut your losses. So my whole plan when it came to trading, again, I'm using the Robinhood platform, so it's directly through my phone. I was in a meeting, I was occupied, but I set up a plan where I'm buying, where I'm selling, and where I'm cutting my losses. Like a lot of you do know, I buy at right above the support level. I tend to wait for a bounce, so it actually went a little bit below, the 230, came back up. The momentum and the volume was definitely there, as it was sitting in the hundreds of thousands, millions at this point. So I bought in at 230. This is a 5-minute candlestick. I'm going to go ahead and put into 1 minute so you guys can see how it broke down, And this was the most interesting trade of the day, just because I had the most volume and I saw the most return within this trade. So once it bounced at 225, which is totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that it was a stable bounce. Bounced at 225, came up, got filled at 230. That's when I alerted the team. And it ended up going a little bit below 230. That's when a couple traders said that they got filled in on that first bounce, on that first peak, where it peaked at, in a sense, a little bit below 250. You can see that it's building somewhat of a support. So I was able to identify that right away. And in a sense, this information back here, or these candlesticks back here, are able to support that. So as it continued to come back up, I was following with a trailing stop loss. So I was already in the green. So it bounced at 225. I had my stop loss set at 224.99, and I alerted the team right as I was trading. As it continued to rise, I followed with my trailing stop loss 5 cents behind whatever the market value was. So as it continued to rise, it peaked at 255. I told them that I had stop loss set at 250 and ended up hitting 255, and then came back down, got filled, locked in my $260 worth of profit, and it continued to bleed all the way down. I made one mistake. I tried to go back in, and this is in a sense why I traded, 5 times but only 4 stocks. I traded RGSE twice. I wanted to see if I could catch it at this lower support at 225. So I ended up buying in at 225 and then cut my losses right below that. So I was able to cut my losses at $2.2499. I was able to minimize my loss to $2 because right after I cut my losses, the volume just went crazy and ended up bleeding back down. Ended up bouncing right away, but that's why I'm so consistent when it comes to cutting my losses right below the support. There's been a couple of you that have messaged me and that have said, there's no way that you can trade with that. You're always going to stop loss out. Again, yes, maybe for some of you, but I'm pretty good at being able to identify the supports, and I tend to wait for a bounce and seeing upward momentum. I have been using a new type of indicator, and that's the EMA and the SMA, which tells me kind of like the standard moving average, and gives me a little bit of a better understanding on if I'm going in at a good point. Again, you guys don't have to, in a sense, follow everything that I do. I have certain rules and certain tools that I use to trade how I trade, and it's what's led to me to be a little bit somewhat of a successful trader with the smaller account that I have. But in no way do I say that everyone has to trade like me, because we're all different type of investors, and if what I do doesn't work for you, then definitely you can come up with your own concept that works for you. And if you're successful, that's the whole point of this group, an effort for you to share your best practices, an effort to promote growth within the group and all the new members that are joining. So I don't want to subjugate anyone with the rules and kind of the concept that I'm in a sense kind of providing for you guys. This is solely just what's helped me out, and I'm sharing this information in order and hope that it helps you guys out in your effort to be successful when it comes to trading as well. So I bought in at 225, stop loss, a couple minutes after that at 2.2499, and then ended up bleeding right down. Right after that, I was like, all right, I'm done. RGSE, no longer going to be trading that, and that's pretty much how I traded RGSE. And then ATEC, I got an alert for ATEC when it went below 285. It actually went pretty quick. So it went all the way down to 260, so for those that were able to get filled in at that point, jumped right back up at the 291. So amazing for those that were able to jump in. I wasn't that quick. Again, I was in a meeting, so I jumped in at 280, and it took quite a while, and then I ended up getting filled at 294. The reason I sold at 294 was because of this resistance or support that I was able to identify before. So like we've said before, old support levels become new resistance levels. It really wasn't budging anytime before. So again, being realistic and being just wanting to lock in the profits that I had. I was following with a trailing stop loss, but just because it was such a low volume stock, I kind of just wanted to get rid of it. I knew I got in at a good point based on the history within the 10-day analysis. I actually did a 1-month analysis, and overall 280 tends to be a good buy point, as it tends to hold pretty well around the $2.95 to $3 mark. So I knew I got in a good price. My whole plan was getting at 280, selling anything around the $3 mark. Volume wasn't really there, so that's why I sold. And with ATEC, I was able to lock in the $150 worth of profit with my 14-cent gain per share, right? So that was my whole plan. I had a stop loss set if it went below 280, just because I knew it had the possibility of going below. Actually, SPU was one that I did not alert the team on, and the reason why was because I felt like I was talking about SPU too much, and I really don't like overwhelming you guys with the same stock, because I don't want you guys to feel obligated to trade what it is that I'm trading. But pretty much, I saw that it was holding very well above 620 for the past couple of days. So this is simply a 2-day analysis. We can do a 5-day analysis to get a better understanding. Overall, within these past 5 days, again, this hadn't happened yet, right? Because I was buying in right around this point. Ended up buying in at $6.23. Hit lows of like $6.22 or something like that. Got in, got filled. Ended up selling right below where it peaked out at. So I got the alert that it went above 640, followed with a trailing stop loss, put my stop loss at $6.40, hit highs of 644, and then came right back down, got filled, and then with my trade on SPU was able to lock in $81.77. Again, not the biggest trade, but it was just a quick little profit based on me being able to trade this quite often last week. And then my last trade for the day, my last day trade for the day was CIE. This is one that I also shouted out when it was starting to fall down. I shouted this one out when it was at 78 cents. I was kind of waiting for some upward momentum. This is a new video that I uploaded today about how to swing trade for those that want to join our swing trading group chat. But CIE at 77, and then that's when I actually told them that bought in at 77, stop loss. That means that I have a stop loss set at 75.9, and the reason why is because I was able to identify a support at 76, so cutting my losses right below that support. And then my target sell price was 82 cents. You know, I'm setting up a whole game plan right as you buy in or before you buy in order to know, where it is that you're trading. So up on CIE and SPU, just giving them a little update on that trade. So when I traded CIE, I kind of wanted to jump into it right away, and I should have not done that. I bought in at 77, which is ideally, not a bad price. But as you can see, it really set the support right around the 76 area, as it didn't really go below 76. So that was my mistake. I could have got in at a lower point. Again, it's not always about getting at the lowest point, but I jumped in without really understanding where the true support was. And for someone that cuts losses right below the support, that was a big mistake that I made. So as the stock continued to fall down, since I was trading with $3,000 and this stock being less than $1, I was down, in a sense, a couple dollars, and ended up bouncing and then hit highs of 79, came back down. I didn't sell there. I started following with a trailing stop loss, but I didn't like how much it fluctuated. It was holding too well below the $78 mark, so I kind of just gave up. As it started to come back up and it went above 78, I started following with the trailing stop loss, ended up selling at 78.5, got filled, and then with my trade on CIE was able to lock in $58.50. Again, not the biggest trade, but was able to lock in somewhat, some money, and that was my trade for the day. Next time, what I can improve on is being able to identify the support a little bit better, get in at a better entry point, and be able to sell, at these resistance levels. Since I was able to identify that there's a resistance right here and an old support at 79, I should have just sold at 79 or when it went above 79 to lock in my profit and not be as greedy as I was. The reason I wanted to sell at 82 was because of this resistance that I was able to identify. But again, that's a whole different level of where CIE was at. Once it went below this 79 support that it had back here, ended up trading below or between 76 cents and 79 cents. And being able to identify these levels of trading and supports and resistance levels are going to be able to assist you in being able to lock in more of a steady and realistic profit. So those were my 5 trades for today, the 4 different stocks. There was one that I shouted out last week, and it's one that we've been talking a lot with our swing trading group chat. So I was able to identify the support at 47.80 and ended up hitting a resistance at 49.12. And this is Verizon. And although Verizon is definitely not a penny stock, it's definitely a stock that you can still swing trade. So it's a little bit more of a long-term trade. I shouted this one out, told them that I was going in with $15,000 at 47.90, and a couple traders followed just because they saw, they did their own technical analysis and they saw the potential. Just because this is not a penny stock does not mean that you can't make a good amount of profit off of. Again, I was using more of my IRA account for this one through Fidelity, which I have a little bit more money in, since I like to invest with more stable companies. So my entry point, again, being in at 47.90, not at the lowest point, but knowing and seeing that upward potential. So I was using this SMA or the EMA indicator to be able to identify a good buy point, and that's almost exactly where I bought in. Seeing that upward potential, end up hitting a slight resistance at 48.45. This was on the 16th of February, and then today just had good news, good momentum, ended up spiking up to highs of 49.30. I was up nearly at the peak of $439, I believe. Right now I'm still up a little bit over $400, and again, this is with $15,000. So for those that are saying, wow, $15,000 and only $400 worth of profit. This is more for swing traders, and just rather than having your $15,000 in the bank account and making you 0.0001% interest of profit every single time you receive your statement. With this is something that I'm able to understand, and I'm able to make my decision on I feel like I can put my 15,000 or whatever the amount that you have saved into a company that I'm able to identify the support and resistance, use the same concept when it comes to trading penny stocks, but being able to implement it to stable, successful Fortune 500 companies. So again, that was just my trade. I haven't sold just yet, just because my target price, in a sense, based on the analysis that I was able to perform, was with the resistance at $54. So that is my ideal target sell price, and I do follow with the trailing stop loss. So if it goes below $49, I'm just going to lock in my profit, as it's most likely going to continue bleeding back down. I'll buy back at the balance and then ride it back up. Thank you guys again for all those that tuned in, and for those that were able to lock in a huge amount of profit this week with our group. So if you guys have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to me. My email is provided for you down below. It is techbuds@mail.com. I did receive a message saying that my mail did crash because of the amount of emails that I've been receiving. Now they limit the amount that I'm able to send out per day. So I do apologize for that. That's why I've made this group chat public within our own private group chat. So for only those members that are in our Facebook platform have access to join this group chat platform and sharing best practices. So hopefully you guys found this video somewhat helpful. If you guys did, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, as it gives me a better understanding on what it is that you guys enjoy that I produce. So if you guys can, subscribe as well for our daily recap videos and tips and tricks on how to be successful when it comes to investing and trading, and for just weekly videos that we make with the different cars that we own. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.